Oh, right. I am live currently. I haven't got my notes or shared the video, so let me just share the hello for the video because I am now live. Sharing video. Hello and welcome to my personal spin, the weekly show where I give you my personal spin along with Kiara's personal spin on a CD, well, an album to be precise. Generally new ones, but sometimes old ones too. And this week I am reviewing this. This is I'm not entirely sure how you actually pronounce it. I generally call it Ihsahn. Ihsahn. It might be Ihsahn or Ihsahn or something like that. Excuse the hair. So anyway, Ihsahns, whatever's new album called AMR was released on Candlelight/Spine Farm Records this year. My initial impression on first listen, I wasn't that impressed with it, I have to be honest. However, on subsequent listens, I realised actually that it's actually rather good. So let's start from the top. Firstly, Ihsahn, or whatever, is known now for his avant-garde type music which combines black metal and experimental soundscapes, atmospheres and collages even, and stuff together, rather than black metal like in Emperor, although it was quite melodic compared to a lot that was coming out at the time. On what is it with all these weird names I can't pronounce? AMR. We could just call it AMR. He continues the general gist of this idea of lots of different sort of experimental avant-garde stuff combined with black metal, but this album feels more accessible, like nothing is too weird. It's more akin to Dimmu Borgir and Cradle of Filth than his older stuff, which is more cacophonous, that word, and a bit more out there, whereas this is quite solidly in there instead. I very much liked the synthy weirdness that was around a lot of the songs. Twin Black Angels actually has like a drum and bass, for want of a better word for it, section in it, which I really liked. And this is interspersed throughout the album along with some rather good riffs like an Arcana Imperii track 2, which is really cool. It's got a cool riff and some nice synthy stuff, and there's some really good vocals in it as well. There's nice screechy black metal kind of vocals, but you can actually understand what he's saying. The curtain's annoying me. And obviously the singing as well. The singing is very sort of soft. I quite like it. Kind of reminds me of Opeth. A lot of things remind me of Opeth, but that does. So yeah, I didn't actually enjoy it the first time I listened to it, but then I listened to it again a couple of times, and I rather enjoy it now already. The only really big complaint I have is the drum sound. It's sort of a bit like boggy. Like, for example, the snare drum, it doesn't so much crack and have a sharp attack. It kind of sounds like a wet thump. It's like boom, almost. In fact, that was almost the exact sound with a bit more of a crack to it, but not loads. I don't know if I like it or not. It's a different sound, but it doesn't sound real, and yet it says the drums are played by some dude. So I was a bit like, I I know it's only a minor thing, like I don't like the drum sound, but actually it can make a big difference to an album, and I'm not sure if I like it or not. It's the only thing for me that's really, really majorly letting the album down. The actual drumming is actually really good. It's very complex in places, and some of the hi-hat work is very fiddly. The only other minor complaint is that it's perhaps a bit too polished for me, a bit overproduced. But then I think he's trying to be a bit more accessible, so you kind of have to expect that, really. So, not that I mind accessible. I mean, look at my CD collection. It's just, yeah. Anyway, so what was that? Oh, okay. Yes. So we have decided to give it 8 out of 10. I originally only gave it 6, but it's actually pretty damn good. So there we go. That was one review. Now, because I forgot to do it last week, I thought I had and then realised I hadn't. I've actually done Tesseract. This is what I thought I did last week, but I actually didn't actually do it. I just wrote a thing about it while I was listening to it, which is how I review everything. I write a scripty thing after listening to it sort of 3 times, and then write what I like, what I don't like, and then I just trying to describe it. Anyway, that was Ihsahns new album. This is now Tesseract's new album, Sonder, which is apparently a made-up word. See, Kiara says so. Tesseract are a band from Milton Keynes, which is funny enough where I live, which is cool. This album was released on K-Scope last week or the week before, or possibly, no, it was like a month ago. So I am a bit behind. Anyway, in terms of an album, it's a solid piece of music. Let me just make this big so I can read what I wrote. They've been on the up, I would say, for quite some time in terms of their career, perhaps the last decade. I mean, they've got 4 albums to the name now, and each one has been slightly different and slightly better than the last. The first one was really genty and proggy and like, ooh, and it's probably my favourite just because of the bass playing and stuff. And then the next album was a bit more melodic and a bit more sort of airy, like doo-dee-doo-doo. And then the last album, Polaris, was kind of more experimental and brought back some of the edge from the first album. This album, Sonder, is bloody brilliant and combines all 3 albums together into a rather short 36-minute package, which is okay. It's okay that it's that short. It means it's concise and to the point, such as on Orbital, which is like a 2-minute interlude almost. But the best thing about this album is not so much the music itself, it's the space provided on the album. In a world today where every album is just like, fill all the space with sound, whoa, wall of noise, and if it's not doing that, then they compress it and make it really loud, and so there's no space. Tesseract have put space in everything. Even in the guitars, you can hear the space between the sounds, which sounds like really spacey and like I smoke too much weed, but I don't smoke anything. Anyway, you can hear all the instruments. Everything sounds natural. It doesn't sound overproduced, but it does sound clean. But they like to not play as much as they do play. So they'll play and be and then it'll be like pling, and they'll leave a gap of nothing but space, or like one note hanging in the air, and then bring back some spacey weird riff or some drums that are like bit like I don't know, jazz almost. It's very cool. That's the most impressive thing, funnily enough, is the space they put on the album. I mean, the riffs are cool, the actual music itself is cool, but the fact that they sort of go, I know, let's listen to the notes we're not playing for a minute, is kind of what makes the album for me. I think perhaps the biggest failing point on the album is that they do that a little bit too much, and so it kind of loses some of the energy. that it would otherwise have. And it feels a little bit lazy and sort of a bit, oh yeah, I was listening to some metal. But overall, it's really good. It's a nigh on perfect album. Nigh on, but not quite. Tommy Tompkins, I can't remember his name. I call him Tommy Tompkins because it's a cool name. It's back, and he adds some grit to the vocals. Oh, he was back last album, but he's back again for this album, which is cool. And he adds some grit to the album, which is cool. And his vocals are pretty impressive because they're like quite spacey and airy, high pitched, and stuff like that. So yeah, me and Kiara, who is not controlled by my hand at all, is we kind of gave it a 9 out of 10 paws. It's definitely one of our favourite releases of the year so far. So yeah, thank you for watching. That was a review of Sonder's Tesseract's Sonder album. Wait there, I have another one that I didn't actually pick up. I'll be back in a second. It's my review of my amazing CD collection. Yes, my other CD one. The gas. I have misplaced the CD. Oh well. Well, I can't find it. I must have left it downstairs by mistake, which was dumb of me. So I'll review that one tomorrow as a special bonus. As a special bonus, I'm also going to review a coughing fit. No. Between Buried in Me's Automata1, which is actually part 1 of a 2-part album. Came out about a month ago. I like it. It's kind of more of the same. So if you've liked the last 2 albums, you'll probably like this. I feel they could do something a little bit different. And in some ways they have, some ways they haven't. Condemned to the Gallows is very typical of Colours era between the Buried in Me. Yellow Eyes is pretty similar as well. It's all a bit more melodic than Colours, but it's still good. Millions is like a slow song. It's quite nice. And Blot is an epic sort of 10-minute prog fest, which is cool because they get to show off. But at the same time, we've heard them do it all before, but then I suppose, yeah, everyone's sort of done everything before. But I don't know, it just sort of feels like they could do something slightly different. I'm not sure what, something. So it's a solid album. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's nothing new. It'd be interesting to see how part 2 ties in with it and see if having them both together makes it better. Because it's only a 34-minute album, something like that. So it's nice and short, but which is cool. So, but it's quite catchy as well. I mean, Condemned to the Gallows has got a cool refrain that goes Condemned to the Gallows. So that's cool. So all in all, me and Kiara here gave it a 7 out of 10 paws. Right, and there we go. That is our review today. Oh, hey, Kiara's saying hey. And that is a review of those 3 albums. I am actually going to review the other CD that I left downstairs and this Dimmu Borgir's album tomorrow, or possibly the day after, if I remember. No promises. As I need to listen to it more. I've only listened to it once, and I was a bit busy at the time while I was listening to it. So I need to listen to it again and again and again and again. But I've heard good things. One internet site gave it 10 out of 10. So that's cool. Can't wait for that one. So yeah, thank you for watching. I am Cubby, and this is my personal spin on things. In another note, this small Kion said, "Rah, rah." Anyway, thank you for watching. I have been Cubby. Goodbye.